Good evening, everybody. I want you to take a moment and think about your family's story, the struggles, the sacrifices, the dreams that got lost along the way. Now, I want you to ask yourself, are you going to be the one to change it? Because somebody in the family has to step up. If you want to change your family's story, the first thing you have to do is see beyond where you are right now. Too many people get stuck because they can't imagine life beyond their current struggles. They let their circumstances define them. And because they've never seen success up close, they start to believe it's not meant for them. But let me tell you something. What you see in front of you today does not have to be your forever. You have to see beyond the paycheck to paycheck life, beyond the struggle, beyond the limitations that were placed on you. You have to create a vision so big that it pulls you out of the situation. Most people think that success is about talent, money, or luck. But the truth is, success starts in your mind before it ever shows up in your life. If you can't see yourself winning, you'll never take the steps necessary to get there. If you believe that your family is cursed to always be broke, always be struggling, always be in pain, then that's exactly what you'll get. But the moment you decide to see something different, something better, that's the moment you take back control. You have to see yourself in that new house before you ever buy. See yourself starting that business before the money is in your hands. See yourself living a life that your parents and grandparents never even imagined. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That sounds good, but you don't know my situation. You don't know where I come from. And you're right. I don't know your situation, but I do know this. Plenty of people have come from worse and made it out. Plenty of people have been broke, homeless, uneducated, counted out, and still found a way to win. The only difference between them and the people who stay stuck is vision. Some people see obstacles, others see opportunities. Some people see struggle, others see a stepping stone. The way you choose to see your life will determine how far you go. And let me tell you something else. Your vision has to be bigger than your excuses. It has to be bigger than your fears. It has to be bigger than the people around you who don't believe in you. Because let me warn you right now, when you start dreaming big, when you start talking about changing your family story, not everybody is going to clap for you. Some people are so used to struggle that they'll try to convince you that aiming higher is a waste of time. They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll say nobody in our family has ever done that before. But that's exactly why you have to be the one to do it. Your vision has to be so strong that when life knocks you down, and it will, you get back up and keep going. You have to be so committed to changing your family story that you refuse to settle for anything less than what you know you deserve. When people laugh at your dreams, you keep pushing. When money is tight, you find a way. When fear tries to creep in, you push past it. Because here's the truth. If you don't build your dream, you'll spend your life helping someone else build theirs. And if you don't take charge of your family story, it'll keep being written the same way it always has. It's not about where you are right now. It's about where you're going. But first, you have to see it. You have to believe it, and then you have to go get it. Excuses are the number one thing standing between people and their dreams. They're easy to make, easy to justify, and easy to live with until you realize they're also the reason you're stuck. Excuses keep you exactly where you are. They give you permission to settle, to stay comfortable, to avoid doing the hard things that will actually change your life. And if you want to be the one to change your family story, you have to make a decision right now that excuses are no longer welcome in your life. See, life is never going to give you perfect conditions to succeed. There will always be a reason to wait. There will always be an obstacle in your way. But the people who win in life are the ones who decide that no matter what comes against them, they will keep moving forward. You might not have been born into wealth, but that doesn't mean you can't create it. You might not have had the best education, but that doesn't mean you can't learn. You might not have support from family or friends, but that doesn't mean you can't succeed. Excuses will always be available, but so is opportunity. It's up to you which one you choose. A lot of people don't even realize how many excuses they make on a daily basis. I don't have the time, but they spend hours watching TV and scrolling through social media. I don't have the money, but they find a way to buy things they don't really need. I don't know where to start, but they never take the time to learn. If you really want something, you will find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. And the truth is, people who are serious about changing their lives don't have time for excuses. They're too busy taking action. The problem with excuses is that they sound good, they feel justified. You might have grown up in a tough environment. You might have been dealt a bad hand in life. You might have faced things that weren't your fault. But here's what you need to understand. Your past is not an excuse to stay where you are. It is motivation to do better. Every person who has ever made it out of a bad situation had every reason to stay stuck. They could have used their circumstances as an excuse to give up, but instead they use them as fuel to push harder. You have to stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop waiting for someone to come and save you. Stop blaming your parents, your boss, the government, or anybody else for where you are in life. The moment you take full responsibility for your future is the moment everything changes. Because when you take ownership, you also take back power. As long as you blame something or someone else, you are giving them control over your life. But when you decide no more excuses, it's on me, you step into the driver's seat. Success requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires making tough choices. And sometimes that means doing things you don't feel like doing. It means waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It means working on your goals when everyone else is out having fun. It means pushing through failure and rejection without letting it stop you. But most of all, it means refusing to make excuses. Because the only difference between the people who win and the people who don't is that winners find a way while everyone else finds an excuse. The people you surround yourself with have a direct impact on your mindset, your habits, and ultimately your success. If you want to change your family story, you cannot afford to spend your time around negative, lazy, or unmotivated people. You need to be around people who push you, challenge you, and inspire you to be better. Because like it or not, you become like the people you spend the most time with. If you hang around 5 broke people, chances are you're going to be the 6th. If you surround yourself with people who complain all day, who make excuses, who blame the world for their problems, guess what? You're going to start thinking the same way. But if you surround yourself with winners, people who are disciplined, driven, and committed to success, you will start picking up their habits, their mindset, and their energy. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck is because they are afraid to outgrow their circle. They are afraid to leave behind friends and family members who don't share their vision. But let me tell you something, you cannot take everybody with you. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some people are so attached to their limitations that they will do everything they can to keep you where they are. They will laugh at your dreams, tell you you're crazy for trying, and remind you of all the reasons why it won't work. And if you listen to them long enough, you'll start believing them. That's why you have to be intentional about who you spend time with. Look around at your circle and ask yourself, are these people pushing me forward or holding me back? Are they encouraging me to grow or keeping me stuck? Because if the people around you are not helping you become better, you need to find new people. It doesn't mean you have to cut everyone off completely, but it does mean that you have to be mindful of how much influence they have over your life. Winners think differently. They don't waste time complaining, they focus on solutions. They don't make excuses, they find a way. They don't settle for less, they aim for more. And the more time you spend around people like that, the more you start to adopt that mindset. You start to see possibilities instead of problems. You start to believe that success is possible for you because you see others making it happen. If you don't have successful people in your circle right now, that's okay. You can still surround yourself with winners by reading books, watching interviews, listening to podcasts, and learning from people who have already done what you want to do. Study their habits, their routines, their way of thinking. If you do this consistently, your mindset will start to shift, and when your mindset shifts, your life follows. The truth is, growth is uncomfortable. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone, to leave behind old habits, and sometimes even old relationships. But if you want to be the one to change your family story, you have to surround yourself with people who are going in the same direction as you. People who will push you, challenge you, and support you when things get tough. Because at the end of the day, who you spend time with will either lift you up or pull you down, and the choice is yours. Everybody wants success, but very few people are willing to put in the work that success requires. Dreams are free, but the grind is sold separately. It's not enough to want a better life, to talk about changing your family story, or to hope that one day things will be different. Hope is not a strategy. At some point, you have to stop wishing and start working. You have to develop a work ethic that matches the size of your dreams, because the bigger the dream, the bigger the effort required to make it a reality. You can't pray for $1 million life with a minimum wage work ethic. You can't say you want to break generational curses but still move like the people who came before you. If you're serious about success, you have to be willing to put in the type of work that makes other people uncomfortable, the type of work that makes them question why you're so focused, why you're up early, why you stay up late, why you're willing to sacrifice. Because here's the truth. Success doesn't happen by accident. No shortcuts, no handouts, no skipping steps. Every person who has ever changed their life had to make sacrifices. They had to put in the long hours when nobody was watching. They had to keep pushing when it got hard, when they felt like quitting, when the results weren't coming fast enough. But they didn't stop. They didn't slow down. They understood that discipline beats motivation every time. Motivation is great, but it fades. You won't always feel like working. You won't always feel inspired. But discipline is what keeps you going when motivation runs out. If you want something bad enough, your actions have to reflect it. You can't say you want to be successful and still sleep in every day. You can't say you want financial freedom and still waste money on things that don't matter. You can't say you want to build something great and still spend all your free time watching TV or scrolling on your phone. Your habits have to align with your goals. Your daily routine should be a reflection of the future you're working toward. Look at the most successful people in any field, business, sports, entertainment, entrepreneurship. What do they all have in common? They outwork everybody. While others are sleeping, they're working. While others are making excuses, they're figuring it out. While others are comfortable, they're pushing themselves to new limits. That's the difference. It's not just about talent or luck. It's about who is willing to do the work day in and day out without making excuses. And let me tell you something, there is no perfect time to start. Too many people waste years waiting for the right moment. They wait until they feel ready, until things are easier, until life slows down. But that moment never comes. The right time is right now. Because every day you delay, you are pushing your dreams further away. Every time you choose comfort over discipline, you are staying stuck in the same place. And if you're not careful, one day you'll wake up and realize that the only thing standing between you and the life you wanted was the fact that you weren't willing to work for it. Success is simple, but it's not easy. It requires consistency. It requires sacrifice. It requires making the tough decisions that most people aren't willing to make. And the real question is, are you willing to do what it takes? Because if you want a life that most people don't have, you have to be willing to do what most people won't. You have to work harder, work smarter, and stay committed even when you don't feel like it. Your dreams are possible. Changing your family story is possible, but you won't get there by accident. You'll get there by showing up every single day and putting in the work. No excuses, no shortcuts, just relentless effort until the dream becomes reality. If you want to change your family story, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. Too many people spend their entire lives investing in things that bring them no return. They invest in clothes, cars, entertainment, and distractions, but they never invest in their mind, their skills, or their future. They spend money on looking successful instead of actually becoming successful. But the truth is, you are your greatest asset. The more you learn, the more you grow, and the more valuable you become. Think about this. If you lost everything today, what would you have left? If all your money was gone, if your job disappeared, if everything you owned was taken away, what would remain? The answer is what you know, what you can do, and who you have become. That's why investing in yourself is the best decision you will ever make, because when you develop skills, when you gain knowledge, when you build yourself up, nobody can take that from you. It becomes a part of who you are, and it puts you in a position where you never have to rely on luck, handouts, or someone else's approval to succeed. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in the same cycles is because they stop growing. They settle. They get comfortable with what they know, and they never push themselves to learn more. But if you want to change your life, you have to become more. You have to develop yourself into the kind of person who can handle success, who can create opportunities, who can lead, who can solve problems, who can bring value wherever they go. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens through intentional growth. The first way to invest in yourself is through education. And I don't just mean school. Education is everywhere. It's in books, courses, mentors, experiences, and even failures. Successful people never stop learning. They read books instead of wasting hours on social media. They take classes instead of binge watching TV. They surround themselves with people who know more than them, who can teach them, who can stretch their thinking. If you want to go further, you have to feed your mind, because what you put into your mind will determine what comes out of your life. The second way to invest in yourself is by developing skills. The world rewards people who can solve problems, who can create, who can produce results. If you don't have skills, you will always be at the mercy of someone who does. You have to ask yourself, what skills do I need to develop to get where I want to go? Do you need to learn about business, about finance, about leadership, about communication? Whatever it is, start today, because every skill you gain increases your value. And the more valuable you are, the more opportunities will come your way. The third way to invest in yourself is by taking care of your mind and body. Success requires energy. It requires focus. It requires mental toughness. You can't be at your best if you're constantly exhausted, stressed, or unhealthy. You have to make time for rest, exercise, and personal growth. You have to guard your mental space, stay away from negativity, and be intentional about what you allow into your life, because success is not just about money, it's about becoming the best version of yourself in every area. A lot of people are waiting for someone to come and change their lives. They think success is about luck, about the right opportunity, about knowing the right people, but the truth is, success is about preparation. When you invest in yourself, you put yourself in position for opportunities. You don't have to wait for someone to choose you, because you have already built the skills, the mindset, and the work ethic to create your own opportunities. So ask yourself, are you truly investing in yourself? Are you reading, learning, growing every day? Are you developing skills that will take you to the next level? Are you taking care of your health, your mindset, your personal growth? Because at the end of the day, your future will be a direct reflection of what you invest in today. If you invest in distractions, you will get a distracted life. If you invest in excuses, you will get a life full of regrets. But if you invest in yourself, your knowledge, your skills, your growth, you will build a future that not only changes your life, but the lives of generations after you. Most people never change their family story because they are too afraid to fail. They spend their whole lives avoiding risks, playing it safe, and staying within their comfort zone. But here's the truth. If you are not willing to fail, you are not ready to succeed. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than they can count. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary part of the process. It is how you learn, how you grow, and how you get better. The only way to avoid failure is to do nothing, try nothing, and be nothing. And that is the fastest way to guarantee that nothing in your life ever changes. Failure is not what stops people. It's the fear of failure, the fear of being judged, the fear of making mistakes. But here's something you need to understand. Every great achievement is built on a foundation of failure. Every person who has ever done something great has stories of setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles they had to overcome. The difference between them and everyone else is that they didn't let failure stop them. They kept going. They learned from it. They used it to get stronger, smarter, and better. Think about a baby learning to walk. When they take their first step and fall, do they quit? Do they say, well, I guess walking isn't for me? Of course not. They keep trying. They fall over and over again, but each time they get a little stronger, a little better, until eventually they master it. But somewhere along the way, as we get older, we stop trying. We let one failure define us. We let one mistake make us believe we're not good enough. We start believing that failure is final, when in reality, failure is just feedback. It is life's way of teaching you what works and what doesn't. If you want to change your family story, you have to get comfortable with failing. You have to stop seeing it as something to fear and start seeing it as part of the journey. When you fail, don't dwell on it, learn from it. Ask yourself, what can I do better next time? What did this teach me? Because the faster you learn from failure, the faster you will succeed. The reason most people never take action is because they want a guarantee. They want to know that if they start a business, it will work, that if they follow a dream, they will succeed. But life doesn't work like that. There are no guarantees. The only guarantee is that if you do nothing, nothing will change. And if you do something, you might fail, but you also might win. And even if you fail, you will be further along than the person who never tried at all. Failure is painful, but regret is worse. Imagine being at the end of your life and realizing you never even tried. That fear of failure kept you from chasing your dreams, from taking risks, from seeing what was possible. That's the kind of pain that never goes away. Because when you fail, at least you have a lesson. At least you know you gave it your all. But when you never try, all you have is what if. And what if will haunt you far more than any failure ever could. The people who win in life are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who fail fast, fail often, and fail forward. They take risks. They step into the unknown. They put themselves in uncomfortable situations, knowing that growth only happens outside of comfort. And eventually, after enough failures, enough lessons, enough trying, they break through. They succeed not because they were lucky, but because they refused to quit. So the question is, are you willing to fail? Are you willing to take risks, make mistakes, and look foolish in the short term so you can win in the long term? Are you willing to fail over and over again until you finally get it right? Because if you are, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not doubt, not obstacles, because you will understand that failure is not the end. It is just the beginning of your success story. Changing your family's story isn't just about you. It's about the generations that come after you. Too many people focus only on their own success, their own goals, and their own dreams. But true success is not just about what you achieve. It's about what you leave behind. What good is breaking generational curses if you don't pass down the wisdom, the knowledge, and the mindset that helped you do it? If you are the one who changes your family story, your job isn't just to rise, it's to lift others with you. Think about the struggles your family has faced for generations. Maybe it's financial hardship. Maybe it's a lack of education, opportunities, or guidance. Maybe it's a mindset of fear, doubt, and limitation that has been passed down from one generation to the next. You were chosen to break that cycle. But breaking the cycle is not enough. You have to make sure that cycle stays broken. You have to pass down a new way of thinking, a new set of habits, a new standard for what is possible. Too many people escape poverty, struggle, or hardship and then forget to teach the next generation how to avoid the same pitfalls. They think that because they worked hard to get out, their children or family members will automatically understand what it takes to stay out. But that's not how it works. If you don't teach them, if you don't guide them, they will repeat the same mistakes that kept your family stuck for generations. The lessons you had to learn the hard way, the sacrifices, the failures, the mindset shifts, those lessons need to be shared. Think about wealth. There's a reason why most families that build wealth lose it within a couple of generations. The first generation struggles and sacrifices to create something better. The second generation maintains it, but the third generation squanders it. Why? Because the knowledge wasn't passed down. The work ethic wasn't passed down. The hunger, the discipline, the financial literacy, it was never taught, so the cycle repeats. That's why it's not just about making money. It's about passing down the wisdom that will keep your family from ever having to struggle again. And it's not just about money. It's about values. It's about character. It's about teaching the next generation to believe in themselves, to dream big, to push past their fears, and to never settle for less than they deserve. If you had to struggle with self-doubt, with lack of confidence, with feeling like success wasn't meant for people like you, why would you let the next generation go through the same thing? You have the power to change the way they see themselves, to show them what's possible, to give them the tools and the mindset they need to succeed. One of the most powerful things you can do is expose the next generation to a new way of thinking. Take them to places they've never been. Introduce them to new ideas, new people, new experiences. Show them what's possible, because you can tell someone all day that they can be successful. But when they see it, when they experience it for themselves, that's when their belief system changes. That's when they start to see themselves differently. And it's not just about your kids or your family. It's about anyone who looks up to you, anyone who sees your journey and thinks maybe I can do it too. Whether you realize it or not, your success is not just about you. Someone is watching you, learning from you, being inspired by you. Your job is to make sure that the knowledge, the mindset, the game you've learned doesn't die with you. Too many people make it out of struggle and then pull the ladder up behind them. They don't share the knowledge, they don't mentor, they don't teach. But real success is not about keeping everything to yourself. It's about creating a legacy that lasts long after you're gone. If you are the one to change your family's story, make sure that story continues. Make sure that your children, your nieces, your nephews, your community have the blueprint. Because when you pass it down, you don't just change your life, you change lives for generations to come. Life will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path, challenge your patience, and make you question whether you're really capable of changing your family's story. There will be moments when nothing seems to be working, when the dream feels too far away, when doubt starts creeping in. That's when faith has to step in, because if you're going to break generational cycles, if you're going to create something better for your family, you have to trust that the path you're on is leading you somewhere greater, even when you can't see the destination. Too many people give up because they don't see immediate results. They take a step, face resistance, and think that maybe they weren't meant for this. But success doesn't come from seeing the whole road. It comes from taking the next step, even when the path isn't clear. Faith is believing that if you keep moving, if you keep showing up, if you keep doing the work, doors will open, opportunities will come, and everything will fall into place. Think about it. Some of the greatest moments of your life, the biggest blessings, the most unexpected breakthroughs, they didn't happen because you had it all figured out. They happened because you kept going, because you pushed through the doubt, because you refused to quit, because even when you were tired, discouraged, and uncertain, you trusted that something bigger was working in your favor. But trust alone is not enough. You have to keep moving. Some people pray, they hope, they wish, but they don't take action. They sit back waiting for a sign, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for everything to align before they make a move. But that's not how it works. Faith without action is just wishful thinking. You have to step out even when you're scared. You have to keep building even when the results aren't there yet. You have to keep moving even when everything in you wants to stop. Look at the people who have succeeded against the odds. They didn't have a clear roadmap. They didn't have all the answers. They just had faith and the determination to keep pushing forward. They understood that setbacks are part of the journey. They knew that rejection, failure, and delays were not signs to quit, but tests of their belief. The question is, do you believe enough in your purpose to keep going when nothing makes sense? Do you trust that what's meant for you will not pass you by as long as you refuse to give up? You're going to face moments where you feel like giving up, moments where you question why you even started, moments where it seems like nothing is working in your favor. But that's when you have to dig deep and remind yourself why you started in the first place. You didn't come this far to only come this far. You are here for a reason. The vision placed in your heart wasn't given to you by accident. Think about how far you've already come. Think about the things you once prayed for that you now have. The moments when you thought you wouldn't make it, but somehow you did. That wasn't by luck. That was by grace, by faith, by persistence. And the same power that brought you through before will bring you through again, as long as you don't stop moving. There will be seasons where it feels like nothing is happening, where the work you're doing doesn't seem to be paying off. But just because you can't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Seeds take time to grow. Just because the breakthrough hasn't come yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. Too many people quit right before the blessing arrives, right before the opportunity shows up, right before everything falls into place. Don't let that be you. At the end of the day, trusting the process means understanding that every delay, every setback, every challenge is shaping you into the person you need to become. Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you asked for. The struggles are teaching you resilience. The failures are teaching you wisdom. The waiting is teaching you patience. And as long as you keep moving forward, as long as you refuse to quit, one day you'll look back and realize that every single step, every struggle, every hardship, every leap of faith was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. You have the power to change your family story. You have the strength, the vision, and the determination to break the cycles that have held your family back for generations. But it won't be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments when you feel like giving up. That's when you have to remind yourself why you started. That's when you have to trust the process, keep the faith, and refuse to quit. Because here's the truth. Somebody in your family has to be the one. Somebody has to be the one who steps up, who dares to dream bigger, who refuses to settle for the life they were handed. Somebody has to be the one who breaks the curse, who shifts the mindset, who creates new opportunities for those who come after them. Why not you? Your success is bigger than you. When you rise, you lift others with you. When you grow, you open doors for the next generation. When you refuse to quit, you show everyone watching that it's possible. One day, your children, your grandchildren, your family will look back and say, because of you, everything changed. So make the decision today. Be the one. Be the one who refuses to make excuses. Be the one who works harder, who dreams bigger, who keeps going no matter what. Be the one who trusts the process, walks by faith, and keeps moving forward. Be the one to change your family's story forever.